Hey guys, welcome back. I'm sitting here with my new eBay purchase. I only paid $50 for this plus about $8 shipping, so quite a bargain. I didn't know much about the condition of this RC, and I'll tell you this, I probably should have taken some of my own advice that I normally go by when making bids on eBay. So there is a lot wrong with this chassis, but you know what? Give me a minute. We're gonna go over the history and kind of what's notable about this particular RC, and later we'll go over what is exactly wrong here and why I probably should have listened to my own inner self a little bit more. This particular one was a ready-to-run version. I think it was sold somewhere around the mid-2000s. So the Team Losi XXX-NT, and God forbid you say xxx-NT, it's going to be over for you. The Team Losi elitists out there are going to crucify you. That's why I'm wearing this cross right here on my shirt, because I just need that extra protection, right? Either way, these were really good race models back then. Not this particular one, because this is a ready-to-run model. And you know what? They make sure that you know that it's a ready-to-run model. I could see multiple places on this chassis where it explicitly says ready to run. You see that right here? It says ready to run. So there's really no way that anybody out there, if you're in the field running one of these, they'll definitely know that, yeah, you went and bought the ready-to-run version. That, yeah, you probably didn't have the skill or the equipment or the money to build a kit, which is what a lot of people really took pride in back in the early 2000s, and I would say before that.
Let's count all the times I could easily find the phrase RTR. Here's the first one right here, ready to run. You can't miss it every time you go to turn your RC on. It's going to say ready to run. The servo horn also says ready to run. How nice is that? It looks like almost all the molded plastic pieces right here, ready to run. Really nice. Thanks, Team Losi. Even in the front, you can see right here in the axles, I could see it 2 times. Here's one more, and here is one more. Even on the actual wheel hub, it says ready to run. How nice of that is them.
This particular model, I think, competed with an HPI Nitro MT, which I already have 2 of. They are basically the same exact overall size. They use similar wheels. And obviously the Team Losi won all the competitions, and the HPI won almost none of them. I don't remember it really ever being on the winning race stands. So when you looked at your old Nitro magazines, you know, I have a couple of them still here. Right, these were terrific. I learned a lot from these, and I kind of still look at them once in a while to see what the reviews on these older cars were like. Kind of interesting to see how we used to think of them back in the day. But this particular one, I gotta say, was really well equipped for the time. So it had a factory JR Racing XR2i remote. I'll show you guys the remote right now. This one was not from this particular one, but it's exactly the same remote. This is a Traxxas remote of the same time. Yes, they are both AM and they both have huge antennas. But look at that. I mean, you have an LCD screen right here. And we all know whenever you have a computer LCD screen on your remote, you're generally a winner in life, especially when it came to RCs back in the early 2000s, I must say. You know, on the one hand, you're turning knobs. On the other one, you have some pretty cool sub-trims that, yeah, were really hard to figure out if you remember, if you know what I'm talking about. Back then, it was pretty tough. This particular one, there are some really notable things about it, and that's really why I kind of bid on it. So I always like to see updated fuel lines. This one has the really nice newer fuel lines. They're still soft, so it looks like it was run not too long ago. I also like seeing, you know, the RC being protected. So this has shock socks. They are in terrible shape, but you know what? Someone spent maybe about 20 bucks on a set of these, and probably the inside of the actual spring is pretty good. Yeah, it looks pretty clean. The spring is really not that worn right here. I'm going to disassemble this further. We're going to inspect it in the further video. But let's just go over the rest of this chassis. The wheels, you know what? The wheels are actually really nice condition. It looks like they are also original. I'm just looking at the actual Team Losi website here, and I could see the picture from their marketing kit, and it's exactly the same wheels that this Team Losi was running. This was 500 bucks back then, so 500 bucks, that's a nice chunk of money. So I remember my first HPI RTR3 was about $320. So 500 bucks for a ready to run, you know, it is substantially more. Of course, this is a truck, so yeah, you get a lot more than I would say the regular 10 scale touring car. Another cool thing, you see this word right here? It says graphite. So they really want you to know that you're getting a lot of cool features here. Although I gotta tell you, the Duratrax also sold a lot of graphite models back then. And you know what? Duratrax is basically gone today. So graphite wasn't what it was cracked up to be. In fact, I don't think it was actually any stronger or better in the long run. The basic, obviously, parts from Traxxas, yeah, most of them were kind of problems, especially the hubs and all your hinge pins around the front of the suspension system. Yeah, they were trash, but they were easily upgradable to relatively cheap RPM parts. So for me, the whole graphite thing really was not an issue. I'm not sure if this is an original steering servo on here and a throttle servo, because I see on the website, it says that these had the JR Z590M servos. I just checked the servo here on the bottom and it is a Z270. So it's not a high torque steering servo. Don't know particularly what the reason of that is. Everything else on this RC seems relatively original. Even the receiver is the original JR receiver with a crystal. So you know what? I could probably even get the old original JR radio to work with this. Although I'm not gonna mess with that. I'm just gonna stick in a regular Fly Sky, you know, GTB receiver in here and call it a day. They're just so cheap. There's no reason not to do that. Overall, the RC is in okay condition. You know what? It didn't include anything else other than what you see here. But for 50 bucks, even worst case scenario, I think, you know what, at the time when I was thinking is, you know what, at least I'll have an okay engine. But come to see that the engine doesn't spin over. So I can't pull this pull start. I haven't disassembled anything to see what the particular reason is. It could be seized. It could just need oil. It could have something wrong inside, like worst case scenario is a broken connecting rod. So that is probably the worst thing that could happen. But even then, you know what? Not a big deal. I still like this chassis overall. The shocks are nice. I could always use this on something. Nothing wrong with that. Another issue, the spur gear. So it is slightly stripped. As I spin the wheels, they basically bind. So the spur gear is a little bit stripped, and by a little bit I mean it needs to be replaced completely. So that is an issue in itself as well. Other than that, all your actual steering geometry is actually very good. It is spot on. It looks like the camber and caster and the toe-in is very good here overall. Another nice thing to see from another RC that you're looking to buy is to make sure that, you know, it's kind of taken care of. And I could see that even these body clips right here have these little fuel tube things through them. And this was actually one of the hints I remember reading about in the RC car action magazines years ago. You know what, how to make sure you don't use your body clips. So people used to do this back in the day. Basically just get a couple zip ties and make a little thing like this. So when you pull the clip out, you see that it just comes out easily, and it's pretty much harder to lose this way because it's, you know, huge instead of being tiny again. So pretty cool, you know, when someone kind of took care of this car more or less. You know, it does obviously need a lot of work, and it looks like the main issue is the fact that the motor is seized. You know, until I disassemble it, I won't know what's wrong with it, but that's going to be in a further upcoming video. Another nice element here is the fuel filter. So I always love to see fuel filters on nitro RCs. That says that the person really kind of looked after this engine. They cared about how they ran it, and hopefully they cleaned it. But I really think that doesn't matter because the engine at this point doesn't even turn over. And without further disassembly, I'm not going to know what's wrong with it.
Another interesting decision I've seen on this RC are the wheel hubs. This car doesn't have any wheel hubs, so I removed one of the rear wheels right here. Just wanted to show you guys the way it's mounted. So as you would expect, you have a normal pin and an axle, but you know what? There's no hex. So the pin literally goes straight into the wheel right here. I've never seen anything like this before. And also, the actual wheel nut is literally twice the size of a regular 10 scale HPI or Traxxas industry standard nut. I had to use this glow plug removal tool to just undo this nut from the wheel axle. But I guess the larger size of this wheel nut compensates somehow for this wheel design. If any of you guys have seen anything like this, please put in the comments below.
Okay guys, there it is. I gave you a quick overview. This is not a very long video on my current $50 RC car. Yeah, there's a lot that could be said about it. I probably didn't say all of it, and I'm sure all of you Team Losi enthusiasts out there are gonna correct me. And you know what? You should correct me because there's nothing else I can do other than learn from you. You know what? Whether I choose to take your advice or don't, Thank you all so much for watching, and stay tuned. I'm gonna fully tear down this engine. We're gonna see what's wrong with it, and maybe I'll get it running. If not, then, you know, worst case scenario, I'll just convert this to brushless. Who cares? It'll still be a great runner, right? There it is, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Till next time.